Welcome back to In Pursuit of Truth. Happy St. Patrick's Day. This is Sir Patrick Mack with In Pursuit of Truth. I want to start you off here with my Gab page. If you haven't seen this yet, I am over here on Gab. I am just getting this all ready, starting to download or upload, all of my videos. And I will be setting this up and keeping pretty current with this just in case the YouTube goes down. So if you're on Gab or you feel like getting on Gab, I'm over here. I am also now over on Bitchute. So if you are interested in checking this out, I've really enjoyed Bitchute. I don't understand it completely yet, but I think I'm really liking the concept. So in case anything happens to the YouTube, you can find me over here at Gab or over here at Bitchute. Just search In Pursuit of Truth. We're going to get right into some news stories here. We've got quite a few things to cover. I don't want to get too deep in anything, but there's lots to talk about. So, starting now with the Daily Caller. British court orders Christopher Steele to appear for deposition in dossier lawsuit. The former British spy who wrote the infamous dossier has been ordered to appear for a deposition in a lawsuit over the salacious document filed in the U.S. Excuse me. So, as you know, Steele has been talking about this for a long time, but he has not actually testified. So that is going to happen now. Steele's report was funded by the Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee. BuzzFeed News published the 35-page document back in January 2017. Now, if you'll remember this name here, Alexei Gubarev, a Russian businessman named in the dossier, is suing BuzzFeed. Claims that Gubarev was recruited as a Russian spy and that his web hosting companies were used to infiltrate the DNC's computer system. Okay, so I don't want to get way into this, but let me just leave you with this quote here. This is from Evan Frey-Witzer, a lawyer for Gubarev, praised the decision. "We're thrilled that the English court has ordered Mr. Steele to sit for his deposition," Frey-Witzer said. "It was always amazing to us that he could talk as freely as he has to reporters around the world about the dossier, yet refused to sit for a deposition about the same topics." So this should be pretty interesting. We're going to move on. Although this is such an interesting topic, there's a lot of other things here too. So remember this guy here? This is back in January 22nd, 2018, only a couple months ago. BPR BizPack Review. Remember this guy? This was Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. They exchanged all those emails. They were having a little affair during the Robert Mueller investigation of President Trump. Well, 50,000 anti-Trump texts, but 5 months of those texts were all of a sudden missing. What happened to those 5 months of texts? Well, I don't know. According to the Federalist, Peter Strzok had a personal relationship with recused judge in Michael Flynn case. Text messages obtained by the Federalist show that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page conspired to collude with Judge Rudolph Contreras, a FISA judge who presided over Michael Flynn's guilty plea and was later removed from the case. Newly discovered text messages. How about that? Remember, Q said nothing was ever truly missing. Newly discovered text messages obtained by the Federalist reveal two key federal law enforcement officials conspired to meet with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court FIC judge who presided over the federal case against Michael Flynn. The judge, Rudolph Contreras, was recused from handling the case just days after accepting the guilty plea of Donald Trump's former national security advisor, who was charged with making false statements to federal investigators. So, if you remember this, Judge Contreras recused himself after he already took the plea. It was the first time that I'd ever seen anything like that. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, they were alleged to have a little affair. Peter Strzok is married to Melissa Hodgman, who back in October 14th of 2016 was named Associate Director in the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. Very interesting time indeed, and why I'm talking about this, not that I necessarily know all about this, but Q wanted us to watch that date of her promotion, October 14th, 2016. That was roughly around the time that Weiner's emails had been released and the investigation into Hillary Clinton was reopened. So let's go back right here. Now, this is all over the news as of just a couple hours ago, so I'm going to let them handle all the different texts because some of them are just going to blow your mind. But here's one from Lisa where she says, Rudy meaning Rudolph Contreras, is on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. Page excitedly texts Strzok on July 25th, 2016. Did you know that? Just appointed to months ago. I did, Strzok responded. I need to get together with him. And actually, I was watching Hannity earlier, and according to that, his report, Strzok said, I knew before and after, referring to him knowing before and after the recusal. So there you go. I'm gonna move on because all the news is reporting on this right now. So you're gonna get all you want about this. This is just breaking today with everybody. So taking you now over to Reuters. Former FBI number 2 McCabe fired, claims he is being targeted. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions fired the FBI's former number 2 official Andrew McCabe Friday, prompting McCabe to say he is being targeted because he is a crucial witness into whether President Donald Trump tried to obstruct the Russia investigation. Sessions, in a statement on Friday, said he felt justified in firing McCabe after the Justice Department's internal watchdog found he leaked information to reporters and misled investigators about his actions. The FBI expects every employee to adhere to the highest standards of honesty, integrity, and accountability, Sessions said. But McCabe, who played a crucial role in the Bureau's investigations of Hillary Clinton and Russia's interference in the 2016 U.S. election, denied those claims and said he is facing retaliation by the Trump administration. In a lengthy statement, McCabe says he believes he's being politically targeted because he corroborated former FBI Director James Comey's claims that Trump tried to pressure him into killing the Russian probe. Okay, so you guys all know this story. The interesting part, of course, is this. McCabe's dismissal came 2 days before his 50th birthday, when he would have been eligible to retire from the Federal Bureau of Investigation with his full pension. The firing, which comes 9 months after Trump fired Comey, puts McCabe's pension in jeopardy. Now, I want to move on to more stories because this is being reported all over the news too. You're going to get plenty of this. You don't need me to tell you this story. You're going to get plenty all over Fox News. But I will mention this as a side note that I was doing some work on this, and I can't claim any numbers right now off the top of my head, but you would be amazed to find out how much of our GDP is focused into these pensions, these so-called pensions. That may be why it's such a big deal. All right, we are moving on. We're going to take you over here. If you remember, yesterday, aerial footage shows the aftermath of the FIU pedestrian bridge collapsing on Southwest 8th Street in Miami on March 15, 2018. Meet MCM and FIG, the two firms behind FIU's collapsed pedestrian bridge. Wow. All right, well, let's start with the first one. MCM being Munia Construction Management and FIG Bridge Group, the firms behind the $14.3 million walkway connecting Florida International University to the tiny blue-collar burb of Sweetwater, have a long history of massive public works projects, political donations, and a few safety issues. Okay, this is a big story too. MCM is one of the most influential construction firms in Miami-Dade, and its executives are significant donors in county races. Pedro Munilla, the partner and company vice president who helps lead the firm, is a former attorney who was effectively disbarred in 2001. A Florida Supreme Court filing said Munilla agreed to a disciplinary resignation, which is tantamount to disbarment. His Florida bar listings include his MCM email address and identifies Munilla as not eligible to practice law in Florida. Wow, okay. So, sounds like this guy decided to go from law straight into construction. He enjoys cordial relationships with elected officials of all levels of government. Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez said he spoke by phone with Munilla in the hours after the collapse, while the mayor was in Hong Kong during a trade mission. One of Jimenez's sons, lobbyist CJ Jimenez, has registered to lobby for MCM in the past, and his other son, Julio, used to work for the company as a construction executive. All right, so there's more on here, but let's get to the second company. FIG, a high-profile firm in its own right, was responsible for building the pedestrian bridge over Tallahassee's Cascades Park and the Broadway Bridge crossing the Halifax River in Daytona Beach. All right, I'm going to skim down just a little bit here. Where are we at here? My apologies. MCM construction sites, meanwhile, have been inspected 8 times by the federal government since 2013 and fined on 4 occasions for violations worth more than $50,000. The company has also faced a slew of standard negligence and personal liability cases typical in the industry. A contractual dispute with a subcontractor that walked off the job resulted in a $143,000 judgment against MCM. The subcontractor cited safety issues with the project, a $13.5 million bridge reconstructing project on Red Road. So both of these groups here have been messing around with quite a few things and have been caught with their pants down and built some unsafe stuff. I'm not going to go way into it, but here's Fig. Fig and his principals contributed more than $99,000 to state political candidates in the last 20 years. Most of it, $60,000, to the Republican Party of Florida during the time the Garcon Point Bridge in Santa Rosa County was under investigation in 2001. Interesting. The bridge was constructed by Odebrecht Metric, which paid $4 million in fines and restitution for violating the Clean Water Act for illegal dumping of cement into Pensacola Bay during the construction. FIG engineers, which did the inspections and were responsible for oversight of the construction, were not charged. Now, what they were reporting, and I don't have this here in the article, it doesn't state in the article, but part of the reason this bridge collapsed was due to faulty steel girders. Faulty steel, that pesky faulty steel. Okay, can't get into too many of these stories because we got to move on. We got to talk about Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton treated for minor injury. I'm having a hard time reading today. In India, says hospital. This is out of BBC News. Now, we know she slipped the other day, and although we didn't see her actually fall in that video, it does seem that she fell again. Miss Clinton, who has been touring the country to promote her book, was admitted to the hospital in the city of Jodhpur early on Wednesday. Suresh Goyal, head of Goyal Hospital, told AP News Agency she was there for about 15-20 minutes. He did not divulge what the 70-year-old was treated for. Okay. So, I'm not going to get way into this because everyone's kind of covering her fall. You already know that. But there's a picture of her. She's got that all covered up, and I just found that very interesting because she's had some falls before, right? She sure has. As a matter of fact, in October last year, Mrs. Clinton broke her toe while visiting London and had to wear a surgical boot. She told the BBC's Graham Norton show, "I was running down the stairs in heels with a cup of coffee in hand." Well, you guys remember that story. And during the 2016 presidential campaign, Ms. Clinton collapsed while leaving the 9/11 memorial in Manhattan. Her team later said she had been diagnosed with pneumonia and dehydration. In 2013, she was treated for mild concussion and a blood clot near her brain after she said she fell inside her home. So she's having a hard time standing up, but she seems to be really, really embarrassed about having a slight hand cast put on there, where she didn't have a problem when she was covering up her boot. Who else was covering up there, or was wearing the boot back then? Yeah, that was John McCain right there. He was rocking the boot. He's rocking the boot. She's rocking the boot. There he is rocking the boot. Hey, that's not a boot. That's not a boot. Who else was wearing a boot? That's right, she was wearing a boot. What's that? That's not a boot. That's not a boot. Anyway, so, Huma Abedin, she was wearing a boot. McCain's wearing a boot. Hillary Clinton's wearing a boot. Where's Huma Abedin right now? That's right. She's in India with Hillary. Indeed. So, this is pretty interesting stuff. Now, the doctor says that he wants to keep her there not keep her there for a couple days, but check back on her a couple days. So that would imply to me that Hillary is going to be in India for a few days. If you watched my video yesterday, you we get into a little bit of theory why she might be in India. But as far as we know right now, she slipped and fell, hurt her wrist. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all the news. If there's any new Q posts, I'll be right on it. I have a feeling after this news day, we're going to get a lot of new Q posts. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Sir Patrick Mack. As always, please, if you like this video, please click like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't like it, let me know why. Please be gentle down below. All right, I'm Sir Patrick Mack with In Pursuit of Truth. Stay free, stay vigilant, stay sane, stay well.